Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how to install an SSL certificate. Now keep in mind that this is not specific to Pharos. This would be the case for any SSL certificate to secure your web traffic. In the case of Pharos, we use this to secure communications between our EDI and the EDI clients, such as the embedded IMFP solutions and the PS200 and the PS60, such things as that. But again, this is not Pharos specific. This would be the process regardless of whether this is for Pharos stuff in particular or just general securing of your website with SSL. So the first thing we have to do is import the root certificate, and I find the easiest way to do that is just bring up the MMC console and then add the snap in for certificates, and I do it for all accounts, and we go from there. And then at this point then we go down to trusted roots. One of the actions we have over here under all tasks is to import. So we're now going to import our certificate. This is on the Pharos CD. So if we look, I have the Pharos CD image on here. So if we look in here, it will be in the in here under server edi.net and this top certificate here, and we do next. And now this bit I'm told is overkill, but our documentation says to do it, so I'm going to do this anyway, and that is we're going to show the physical stores here, go back to our trusted root and put this in local computer. Again, I'm told that's not necessary, but this is what our documentation says, so I want to show you what our documentation says. So we'll do that, click next and click finish, and our import was successful. If we refresh the screen now, we see the Pharos certificate down here. So this is the Pharos root CA certificate. So at this point now, then we are ready to create the request to send off to Pharos, and I'm going to save this on my desktop here so I can use this again later if I need to. But now we need to send off the certificate request to Pharos, and in order to do that, first we need to create the certificate request. So to do that, we go into the IIS manager, and I'm going to make this a little bigger so we can see the screen a little better. We go into the server name itself, go down here to server certificates, double click that, and we're going to create a certificate request. Now the common name is very important. It is not case sensitive. It is, however, dependent on whether it is the short name or the fully qualified name of your server. If you create this using the short name and your Pharos services or any web traffic talks using the fully qualified name, you'll get an additional warning message. You get a message that says that the certificate was not created for this site. So in order to get around that, you want to make sure that if you're using the fully qualified name, that you use the fully qualified name here in the common name. If all of your clients are using the short name, then make sure you're using the short name in here. In this case, you would put in your university name, the department we're going from. Where I'm at right now, I'm at home, so I will put my town in here. If you were sending this to a real certificate authority like VeriSign, InCommon, places like that, the organizational or the organization name, the city, locality, and the state, province all have to be filled in, and they cannot use abbreviations. So if I were to put IL in there for Illinois, one of the major certificate issuers would kick that back to you and say that that's not allowed. In the case of Pharos, this is coming from one of our customers for our stuff to secure this, so we don't really care that much. So as long as we know it comes from the person that if we know the person on the other end, then we don't care so much. Otherwise, the VeriSigns and InCommons and places like that of the world will actually verify this information to make sure it's correct. So we then click next. Again, for us, we can leave these the default. The bit length, if you were to do this again for an InCommon or a VeriSign, they're going to require that it be at least the 2048. I don't think any of them will issue a certificate for less than that these days. So in our cases, for our cases though, we're just going to leave it the same, and we're going to click next. We're going to specify a file name for this. Now, this is just a personal preference, but what I'd like to do is I like to call this thing the same as my server name. And the reason I like to do that is because if we're just doing one server, this is not a big issue. But if we're doing multiple servers, it's really nice to be able to tell which one is which. So if I name them based on the server name, and had I used a fully qualified name, I would put the fully qualified name in here. But if we do these based on the server name, then we'll know which is which, because it, again, is keyed to the server name, so it does have to be correct. So we save this to this location, we do finish, and now we have now created the certificate request, and now what we do is we email that file off to support@pharos.com. So I'll show you what that thing looks like. So if we go in here, you will see this certificate request, and if you want to, just for fun, if you want to open this thing up and look at it, you can see what a certificate request looks like. That's what one looks like. This is a bunch of encoded data in here that tells about your server and other such things as that, and this is why certificates are keyed to the specific machine that the request was sent from. So we need to send this off to pharos.com. Through the magic of television. I'm going to cut that process very quick, but I will now break away and email this off, get a certificate back, and then I will continue the process.